The Empire ruled with fear. The rebellion fought for freedom, but then there was the Corporate Sector Authority, a faction that didn't care about Jedi or Sith, just profits. A powerful, greedy, corporate-run government from Star Wars legends. If you thought the Empire was heartless, wait till you hear about these guys. The Corporate Sector Authority began way back in 490 BBY, created by the Galactic Republic to settle disputes between greedy corporations and politicians. The idea was simple: give companies a corner of the Outer Rim to run freely without too much oversight. What could possibly go wrong? Originally just a few hundred supposed uninhabited systems, the sector was meant to be regulated by the Republic, but instead it became a corporate playground. By 403 BBY, it had its own charter, laws, and judiciary, all run by corporate interest. During the Clone Wars, things got shady. Lobbyists formed the Galactic Corporate Policy League, cozying up to Palpatine and pushing pro-business agendas. And though most CSA companies supported the Separatists, Palpatine still used their loyalty to restructure them after the war. When the Clone Wars ended, Palpatine rewarded his corporate allies with the signing of the Corporate Sector Charter. The CSA expanded into nearly 30,000 systems, becoming one of the largest factions in the galaxy. The Empire didn't control them, but they were definitely partners. The CSA paid tribute to the Empire, handed over droid remnants from the Clone Wars, and got access to untapped resources. And yes, they covered up the existence of native species to keep the exploitation going. Despite the partnership, the Corporate Sector Authority remained technically independent. It even had its own military, courts, and diplomatic relations. The Empire just let them do their thing as long as that thing was making them credits. The government was made up of corporations, plain and simple. At the top was the Directs Board, a council of 55 business executives who answered to the EXO, which was an executive officer, and the Prex, which was the president. Every law, ruling, or enforcement action served profit. Citizenship wasn't a right, it was a purchase. If you couldn't afford to be a shareholder, you were just a worker, and if you tried to unionize, that was the worst crime in the sector, leading to most likely a beating. The CSA's culture didn't care much about species, it cared about status. Aliens were fine, as long as they made money, but the majority of people lived in poverty, working dangerous jobs while the corporations ravaged planets for resources. The corporate sector had its own military arm, the Security Division. Their police force, the Espos, were notorious for brutality. If you stepped out of line, especially politically, you might end up in their secret prison, Star's End. This high security prison was located on a desolate asteroid in the Midas system in wild space. The Corporate Sector Authority's fleet included second-hand Star Destroyers, Lucrehulks, Recussant destroyers, and a mix of old Imperial and Separatist ships. They even sold ships to the Rebel Alliance before the Battle of Yavin, just another way for them to make a quick buck. After the Emperor's death, the CSA tried to stay neutral, selling to both the New Republic and the Imperial remnants, but that didn't win them any friends. In 7 ABY, the warlord Zinj conquered the corporate sector. It stayed under his control until his death. Later, during the Yuuzhan Vong War, the Corporate Sector Alliance cut itself off completely, avoiding invasion but also isolating itself. By 40 ABY, it backed Corellia during the Second Galactic Civil War, and in 44 ABY, it faced a massive slave revolt as oppressed workers across the galaxy rose up. In newer content, we learned that the CSA had quietly been expanding its power and military reach. It wasn't just about the money anymore. Their security police, fully militarized, was a private army, outfitting the First Order and helping them grow in the shadows of the galaxy. A high-ranking Imperial officer, Enric Pride, worked directly with the CSA under the codename Steadfast. He oversaw their forces and was given full command, operating in secret with an official named Vice Prex Chroma. They even crossed paths with Ochi of Bestoon, the Sith Eternal's personal Jedi hunter. While on a mission to find Rey and her family, Ochi requested CSA backup. Pride gave him troops, but after a failed operation, the alliance was abruptly cut off, with Pride warning Ochi to stay far away from the corporate sector. That tells you just how territorial and secretive this group had become. And it didn't stop there. Leia Organa's resistance eventually uncovered that the Corporate Sector Authority was also acting as a financial pipeline for the First Order, channeling credits through fake companies and front groups to corrupt New Republic senators. So while most of the material comes from legends, canon is slowly starting to weave them back into the galactic narrative as financial backers, military leaders, and quiet enablers of the First Order's rise. They may not wear Imperial uniforms, but they were just as dangerous and maybe even more effective. Let me know what you think of the Corporate Sector Authority down in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.